What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Blaze, and we back with another video. Today, I'm gonna be ranking the big three catalog from worst to best albums. I saw Ack posted this screenshot of the big three certifications, and it obviously favors one person, and it really doesn't favor one person.
I'm not gonna say.
Obviously, we know who. It favors Drake. It doesn't favor Kendrick at all. And J. Cole is right in the middle child shit. So I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a fair judgment of the quality of the music. So I'm going to be ranking each album from worst to best depending on how fire the music is. Let's get right into the video. Drop a like, subscribe if you're new here. At number 21, out of all the albums made by these three guys, Honestly Nevermind is honestly the worst album made, and he should never have minded making this album in the first place. Next up on the list is another Drake album, Certified Lover Boy. It was a certified snooze fest. Honestly, the rollout was way more impactful than the album itself. At number 19, it's another Drake album. This one is his last studio album, For All the Dogs. As good as this album could have been, it just falls short conceptually and because of a few sleeper tracks here and there. The deluxe version tries to save it, but this is as high as I can put it on this list. At number 18, we have J. Cole with his first entry on the list with Cold World Sideline Stories. This album was honestly a decent, debut album, but it was just not hitting as hard as his mixtapes like Friday Night Lights and Warm Up. So it really falls short. It has a few good songs, but it's not as he really needed to come harder than that, which he did on his next couple albums, which would be up higher on the list. At number 17, we have Drake with Scorpion. This album came at a critical time in his career. It has a lot of some of his career defining hits like God's Plan and Mob Ties. It honestly wasn't a favorite album of mine when it came out just because of the length, but it honestly grew on me and I really like the album. It's a good album despite all the, ghostwriter and reference track accusations that have come out since then, especially with a reference track for Mob Ties dropping. That just takes away some of the credibility of the album. But the album is still a good album. It's a good listen. I just think it's a little too long and it's as high as I can put it on this list. At number 16, I have J. Cole with KOD, which is an acronym for many things: Kids on Drugs, Kill Our Demons, King Overdosed. The album is littered with social commentary. It's a really good listen. I just think it's rushed. I think if I remember correctly, this album was made in 2 weeks right after he got off tour with Kendrick. And he could have just done a little bit more in terms of the depth of the subject matter he's talking about with this album. Missed opportunity. At number 15, we have Drake with Views, which could easily have gone a lot higher on this list if it wasn't so long. He didn't have to force so many pop songs on there. He didn't have to put so much filler. He didn't have to force the Billboard 100 songs. But at the same time, it's part of those songs that made the album so good. 2016 was a great year, and it wouldn't be the same without Views. So this is definitely one of Drake's pretty good albums, conceptually, cohesively, and that's why it's up here on this list. At number 14, we have Drake with Thank Me Later, one of Drake's most slept on albums. It's cohesive, the track list is not too long, the hunger is there, the features are there, the flows are there. Again, the hunger is there, you can hear it. This album really showed the potential Drake had, and it's still a good listen till this date. At number 13, I have J. Cole with For Your Eyes Only. This album really had the potential to be a lot better than it did. It was dragged down by a couple, I won't say bad choices, but just songs that deviated from the theme of the album. Fold clothes, really, bro. Funny enough, I actually fuck with fold clothes, but it just didn't fit the album's theme. But we have J. Cole doing some of his best storytelling on this album, and it's number 13 on this list. At number 12, we have another J. Cole entry with his most recent project, Might Delete Later. This album is honestly one of the most slept on projects in recent times. Like the whole Drake and Kendrick rap beef, and then with J. Cole apologizing, it just put this album under the radar, but it's honestly one of his best works, and that's why it's up here on number 12. From the rapping to the beat selection, from Pricey all the way to Trade the Truth and Ibiza. It's really one of his best works, and it definitely deserves to be up here on this list. At number 11, we have Kendrick Lamar with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. A lot of people are probably gonna be mad it's this low on the list, but honestly, I guess I'm just not as mature as I think. Maybe I need some healing to do, but the album was just drawn out. It wasn't that interesting to me. It was a lot of details about his personal life. It was just not hitting. He wasn't rapping the way I wanted him to rap. The beats weren't slapping the way I wanted it to slap. The subject matter wasn't really in tune with what I wanted to hear. I'm not really gonna go in on the album because I know it's a good album. There are still a lot of good songs. I just think, like some of the other albums on here, it was just a little bit too long for me. At number 10, I have Section 80 by Kendrick Lamar. This is Kendrick's first full length professional EP, I guess. I honestly didn't even know it was an album. I thought it was a mixtape, but I guess it's being classified as an album now. And it has a lot of bangers on here. He was really snapping on some of these tracks. And I wish I could put it higher, but the albums here just are neck and neck. And at number 10, I have Section 80. At number 9, I have J. Cole with Born Sinner. This is J. Cole's second album. Anything he wasn't good at on his first album, he definitely doubled down and got better at on this album, from production to making hits to storytelling to rapping to relatability. Everything just took the next level up, and his second album, Born Sinner, was way better than his first album, and it's right here at number 9 on this list. At number 8, we have J. Cole with 2014 Forest Hills Drive. This is honestly a fan favorite, and it's definitely a classic. This was my favorite J. Cole album for a long time because of how personal he got, because of the hits on the album, the beat selection, the cohesiveness of the album, and the overall themes he decided to touch on the album. It's a wonderful album, and it ends up at number 8 on this combined ranking. At number 7, we have Drake with Nothing Was the Same. This was a career-defining moment coming off of a Grammy-winning album like Take Care. He had to go hard, and that's exactly what he did. Just like J. Cole did on 2014 for his Hills Drive, Drake got more personal, shared more details about his life, about his parents, about everything, and it made out for a really cohesive album, a good listen. The music itself was good, the features were good, he had bangers in there. Love this album, and it comes in at number 7 on this list. At number 6, we have J. Cole with The Off Season. Like I said, 2014 for his Hills Drive was my favorite J. Cole album for years, until J. Cole snapped and got tired of being the middle child, got tired of being handed the bronze. He wanted that number 1 spot and was snapping for years. And all that led into this album, which he was rapping his ass off. He went on a crazy streak of doing features and then went in on this album, and he just spazzed all through. I don't care what people are saying about him ducking smoke with Kendrick. Yo, he already said it. Like, if he's beefing a nigga for real, it's gonna be for real. It's not gonna be for streams. So he really is him. And the rapping on this album is crazy. It's very indicative of how crazy J. Cole's pen game can be whenever he decides to up it. And that's why off season is right here on this list. Is right here on this list. At number 5, I have Drake with If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. Honestly, when I first heard this album, I was like, when is his streak going to end? He was going crazy. He was dropping banger after banger after banger. And of course, it later came out that Quentin Miller helped him out on some of these tracks, but I don't think I'm going to let that tarnish or be a factor in just how fire the album is. The album itself sounds amazing. And although this might be considered a mixtape, it's definitely more or less an EP, which is like an album, just like some of the other albums I put on this list. And if you're reading this, It's Too Late is one for the books in terms of bangers, and it's definitely one of Drake's best albums, and it's number 5 on this list. At number 4, I have another Drake entry. This is Take Care. This is an undeniable classic. It's such a great mix of everything good about Drake. We have the introspective raps, we have the braggadocious raps, we have him singing his heart out, we have the pop records that made him, we have everything just like a smooth blend with good production by Boy Wonder and 40. And Take Care is just one of his best albums, if not his best till date. And that's why it's up here at number 4 on this list. At number 3, I got Damn by Kendrick Lamar. This was Kendrick just showing out at this point. Kendrick is known for making very conscious type of music, social commentary, in-depth type of music, and he found a way to combine that type of music with commercial success, and he dropped a lot of commercial sounding billboard hit songs while not straying from his craft, and that's what makes this album so good. Conceptually, musically, it's really a top-notch album, and that's why it's number 3 on this list. At number 2 on the list is pretty much the Kendrick Lamar show from here on out, because we have To Pimp a Butterfly. This album is pretty much a generational album. I have it at number 2 on this list only due to personal preference. It could easily have been number 1, but when this album came out, I don't think I listened to anything else for months. It was like breaking down a thesis from a doctorate program somewhere on societal problems in the black community, and it was just amazing. The hits on there, he had All Right. That was a song for the Black Lives Matter movement. He had so much jazz infused music behind the art. The music itself was great. The rapping was amazing. The inspiration behind the music itself was crazy. The Tupac poem that like kept strung the whole album together. Overall, it was just a wonderfully cohesive album. Even the album that came off of that didn't make this album, Untitled Unmastered, is also a good album. So that's just how good this album is, and that's why it's number 2 on this list. At number 1, my favorite album that has come out of these 3 artists is definitely Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. This album just has a little bit of everything you want in a hip hop album. It has some of the best things that made Damn good, some of the best things that made To Pimp a Butterfly good, and then it has its own unique storytelling. It has its own fresh hunger. That debut album Hunger, that Kendrick was just fresh on the scene, trying to prove himself. Each track is amazing. Each track is amazing. This is definitely one of the best hip hop albums that have come out in years. And that's my ranking of the Big Three's catalog from worst to best. This was actually way harder than I thought it would be. Let me know what your opinion is. Let me know what changes you will make or if you agree with my list. Don't forget to like the video, drop a comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.